What up, my freaks? RuinusInsight here with part 7 of my Total War Warhammer 3 modded Thorgrim Grudgebearer Old World campaign. So as we saw last time, frankly hard to describe because we had like 8 or so battles, a very battle-heavy episode that saw us gain various territories across the map. The most important stuff was the expedition that we sent forth north with Finn Arkandraskelson, and who was able to destroy one of the Varg settlements and then proceed to take out Varg camp itself, which was Azazel's home base. And this pretty much destroys Azazel, and while he does still have the Tower of Crack, there really isn't much left in his faction. We will proceed to try to destroy his vassal, the Varg, as well next turn, before turning back towards our own territory. And definitely something that's going to help us a lot, because these guys were clearly going to continue marching this way, and it would be better if we only needed to defend this one pass rather than the two. Of course, it's only a matter of time until the Nurglites, or no, Cornates here, sickly sort of yellowish color. I thought it would be Nurgle, but anyway, until these Cornates turn upon us, though they are at this time busy with the Shotla, so hopefully the little guy can keep them busy for a time until we're ready to send another army that way. Boris is still doing okay, so our southern sort of the territories to the south of us remain reasonably safe, and hopefully will remain so for a while yet. Anyway, in terms of what we gotta do this turn, it's more or less a new turn, so I guess we gotta move everybody along. But before we do, we gotta do a little building. First of all, we are intending to get another deeps going at Karaz-a-Karak with that gem cutter's workshop to take as much advantage of that, but also we'll want to essentially complete all the construction in this province, such that we can switch out of Masters of Stone and Steel into High King's Tribute and get the bonus income, as we do need it. So, the way that we're going to do it is thusly. You are going to... Well, we're going to build the military structures here simply because we need Thanes and we also need Drake guns for our fire army, so might as well get them up and running ASAP. Might as well also get the deep mine upgraded. We will upgrade the granary here at the Pillars of Grunny, but we will not upgrade the same at Karaz-a-Karak because we'll be deleting this one shortly in place of the gates as soon as this one finishes. I'm just wanting to wait because it's a 15% swing in terms of the costs. We could, I suppose, also upgrade the Gromrel Forge, although it doesn't really do too much for us right now. Well, it does give us a recruitment reduction, but I figure we can upgrade it at the same time as the clan barracks and the arms forge, so there is that. Otherwise, since this is going to take 2 turns, we could for a turn at least switch to venerate the ancestors, because nothing's going to finish until then anyway. Or not venerate the ancestors, to High King's Tribute. We'll get a turn of bonus income, and then we'll switch back for the Ornate Great Gate. I think that's the way to do it, at least in this territory. Next up, we've got the West Darklands. We can now start repairing it and making use of the territory, so we'll go for the deep mine here. We'll need a deep mine and a Makazungor here as well. We'll start with the Makazungor because we need the public order, because the place isn't so great. And I guess we can start upgrading these because the growth here is horrendous at 48, and we'll definitely need those barley fields everywhere. Upgrade, I'm going to say Stone Snake's hold first because it's the furthest away and the least likely to get attacked by anybody, though it is now in a lot safer a position than it was with the Darklands bandits sort of bordering us here. Dwarf outpost here. Oh, we have enough to actually upgrade too. We do have stuff to upgrade here as well, which we could do. Basically put the deep mines up to tier 2. They will pay for themselves, but they'll take 10 turns, unlike the 5 or 6 turns that it takes for the regular level 1 mines. And while we do want to upgrade those, I think we can still wait a little bit. Just give them a couple more turns. Although we are starting to finally generate money, so it's not a huge deal. Do we upgrade you? You know what, let's save it. We'll need money for various things, including a couple of recruitment, and we'll No, you know, screw to it. We'll save the rest of the cash. There we go. Good enough. Now let's start moving, I think. I assume that we don't need to switch any commandments around. You are good as you are, though. If we choose not to build for the next few turns, well, actually, we'll need to build a deep mine here, but then afterwards we can switch you to public order generation. You're fine as you are, and I am liking the fact that we got all these military structures, so we got essentially free military infrastructure out of the Skaven's territory. We do need to build stuff here in the Blizzard Peaks, but we want to switch you to the Masters of Stone and Steel first, so that hasn't changed. Same thing goes for Grimfang, and I guess that's it, that's all. Alright, let's get everybody moving. Thorgrim, we'll start with you, sir. You're going to move down to the Warpstone Meteorites. Let's see if Tretch has come back. If not, then he'll only be found at the Trail of Fangs, which will be his last territory. I see a Plague Rolk, I do not see a Tretch. And is this worthy of our attention in terms of fighting? Close victory, medium casualties. I mean, it's not a horrible garrison. All right, maybe we'll fight it. But let's see who else needs to move and stuff first. Joseph of Zorn, we're going to pop you into... Actually, how much is this going to give us? 252, not worth it. Not worth probably the... Well, actually, does this also reduce our... Actually, it does not. It doesn't reduce the upkeep of the particular army, meaning it's not that useful. It's essentially trading 5 oath gold for 252 money. Let's just continue onward towards Tusk Sun's hold, which is undefended since we've destroyed Dusty, although there is some decent stuff there. You, Grimbrindle, for the last few turns that you're down here, you're going to march on down. Be trading your troops to the, well, to another lord, generally speaking, shortly. Some of you have also mentioned that maybe we have too many lords, and to this I say no. The reason is this. While in mining camp stance, we can take a look at the predicted income here. And this guy, if we turn off mining camp stance, we lose, what, 260-ish gold? And wouldn't you know what, 260 is the upkeep for this lord, essentially meaning that these lords are free as long as they're in upkeep stance, just the cost of the 5 oath gold. And that's certainly worth leveling the lords slowly to get the Mason trait, and then whatever other traits they inevitably pick up. So they can stay there and get the for free and keep leveling, and then making buildings to build cheaper. And then giving us the public order as well. I like the rearguard lords. Anyway, who's up next? Okay, no, not the rearguard. You are fine, you are fine. You are waiting for the... What are these guys called? Steelfist Legion, was it? I mean, it doesn't really matter what they're called. It's just that Steelfist Reavers, not Legion. Okay. But they will be moving here. Do we need additional defenses? I mean, if they come in with a full stack before the other army gets here, it's going to be a problem. Yes. I mean, could recruit... I mean, we could recruit some Quarrelers, I suppose. We are going to split off a Quarreler army, after all. And there isn't a lot of Quarrelers here, admittedly. Just out of curiosity, can Dwarf Warriors be made into Quarrelers? They can, or Longbeards, but yeah. They are a little bit expensive to recruit, though. You know what, maybe we wait a couple of turns and see. These guys might not be approaching us as yet, though. That could be risky, because we saw them have a full stack here to take the Forbidden Citadel. I do wonder if they're at war with anybody else nearby. Who are they at war with, incidentally? Oh, just us? Oh, okay, that means they're moving towards us, and they have... 11 territories. Oh my, they're actually pretty strong. Okay, maybe we should prepare for them. Let's get a couple more Quarrelers on field then. I'm gonna say the Great Weapon variant. Let's do 2. Okay, you know what? You guys should also be in the settlement, like so. And just in case these guys come around, we've also got a Grudge Settler Quarreler that we can pop in there. Anyway, anybody else need to move, or are we good? Braun Hammerfist, I don't remember who you are. Oh, you're this guy. You're not a rearguard lord. You're just using this time to level up until you're good to go. Alright, I guess we're gonna have to get Thorgrim to the Trail of Fangs, because that's where Tretch is gonna appear, most likely. Since we're gonna kill him here. I mean, we could sack it, but I'm not gonna do that. And... Oh, okay, yeah, I was just wondering... we won't be able to capture the Iron Smelter because it's a tier... It's in the 3rd position. Oh well, not a big deal. Could level everybody, but frankly I don't think we need to for this first battle. Go.
go, Dowie. Let us wipe them out. Take up your axes and seek glory in death.
Alrighty, here we go. Thorgrim overtaking the rest of the army quite quickly and heading directly towards the enemy. It was, well, the heck. Big old pit in the center of the map, and yeah, Thorgrim heading directly towards the enemy. With, of course, the rockets and, rockets. I was about to say grudge throwers stones shrieking overhead, but also rockets. Oh, that's not good. Yeah, so I was looking around for the tower, and I didn't notice this one because it was almost behind where we were deployed with our main line, so this tower's gonna be alive a little bit longer until I notice it. Still, we gotta knock out the enemy lord and do some damage with our flyers anyway, so I hope it's not a big deal as long as the tower doesn't destroy too many of our units. I think I finally noticed it when one of our units actually started to take damage, one of our backline units, one of the quarrelers or something. Anyway, I'm gonna head on in. We got a lot of rats to dig out and kill down to a rat in this particular location, with 2 settlements remaining to the clan Rictus. Shouldn't be too difficult, but there are a fair few rats in here, so we'll have to work our way through them, and as usual, Gotrek and Felix will lead. I'm thinking that maybe after this particular Age of Reckoning, we will delay the next Age of Reckoning and then take a little bit of time to build up our economy and to get a few more different armies up and running. Yes, we could continue advancing with these armies for pretty much ever. You can win the game with just, dwarf warriors and quarrelers, but there isn't any need to do that. And especially since we got a lot, and I mean a lot of themed armies still on the way, and we need to build a little bit more in the way of military infrastructure, though we did capture a decent amount, but we still need to build a little to be able to recruit what we need, and of course for us to have enough money to support the units that we need to play around with. Although, of course, Thorgrim will continue fighting because, it's Thorgrim, and good luck stopping him, but, yeah, we'll see about the rest. Of course, there's also Chaos up north, which does give us a good sort of distraction, just generally speaking, because otherwise we'd be fighting way too many greenskins and rats, not that the dwarfs don't enjoy it. But the fact that there's a ton of Norskins and different Chaos factions up north means it's a pretty good, or it was a pretty good choice to confederate Grimbrindle, regardless of his faction-wide buffs, since it will allow us to get all that variety fighting all those different Chaos foes. And of course, help it's up there as well. Anyway, I'm distracted. Thorgrim attacking all those rats, completely surrounded, and Gotrek and Felix with him as well, and finally the hammerers get here. And yeah, somebody pointed it out in the comments. I have been admittedly enjoying Gotrek and Felix in Thorgrim's army at the current time. They are the tip of the spear with him, and since we don't have things like Iron Drakes or artillery, and we don't intend to have things like Iron Drakes or artillery in Thorgrim's army, it does give them a chance to actually fight, rather than have the range units and such obliterate everything. Of course, Thorg would also work pretty nicely in a Slayer army, but then he'd kind of, get lost amongst the sea of Mohawks. There is that to consider as well. I'll think about it. Either way, they're going to be in Thorgrim's army for quite a while, because this is the best place to level them up. That obviously hasn't changed. I gotta remember to get Garagrim on field a little bit earlier. We need sufficient Slayer units. Ooh, I wonder if Goblin Hewers count as Slayer units for the purpose of Garagrim, because I was intending to build some Goblin Hewers in the Rangers with Throwing Axes army. And if they count, we could maybe get Garagrim on field much earlier as well. Also pop him into Thorgrim's army temporarily, until we confederate Ungrim and pop him in there. Although, as I recall, last time I played Malachi, I ended up doing 2 different armies, I believe, for Ungrim, for Malachi, and or 3 different armies, for Ungrim, Malachi, and Garagrim, just because of the buffs. Maybe there was a reason for that. I think I was doing the sort of armored Slayer thing for Ungrim's particular army. Though I can't quite recall how exactly I was armoring them up. I think there was a small amount of armor via a rune, and of course, most likely a Cathan war drum. What else would have given them armor? Oh, and then of course the bonus armor from one of the runesmiths. There's got to be more ways to do it in SFO than there is in vanilla, so we'll have to... oh, wow, look at that. Bombs coming down from the gyro bomber. Yeah. While contemplating, all the rats are exploding in the background, not in a good way. Yeah, I also remember in the, I think it was the Karl Franz campaign, where I decided what I wanted most in the world was a pile of extremely heavily armored flagellants. And I did end up making that happen with very heavily armored flagellants in a blob. I'd kind of want to try to do the same thing with Slayers as well and see what degree we can push them to in SFO to make them not as much of a liability. Of course, we'll have the standard sort of not so tanky Slayers as well. But anyway, looks like the battle pretty much going in our favor. We've split our armies off a little bit. One unit of Hammer's Grudge Settlers now chasing the enemy in rampage mode, but guarding those Quarrelers. Thorgrim, Gotrek, and Felix are leading sort of one portion of our army, and then two more Hammers are moving together with the Runesmith in the other, since the Runesmith can just cast a Rune of Wrath and Ruin if they get in trouble. Another bomb or two bombs or several bombs coming down from that Gyro Bomber, that aptly named Gyro Bomber. In the big old blob. Gotrek is actually taking a little bit of damage. I think before he gets a bunch of skill points, he doesn't have any significant ways to heal himself unless he gets really low on HP, so we do gotta watch out. Gotta double check what items he has on him. We could always give him a Seed of Rebirth or something like that, and just to get a little bit of regen on him. Especially if he's going to be in this army, and compared to Thorgrim, who, despite being out front, is super tanky. 126 armor, 71 melee defense, probably tons of resistances, and that's without any points in his red line, so yeah, he's a big old tank. And a fast one at that. Alright, oh, look at how many rats go flying whenever he swings his axe. I kinda wanna just see him pick up the Damas Kron and then beat a rat to death with the book, but anyway. Or maybe use the throne itself as a weapon in some way. Alright, well, I'm sure Thorgrim's having plenty of fun, and clearly 368 kills and 369, nice, okay, rapidly climbing, 45,000 damage. Very nice. I wonder how much of that is the Rune of Spite and how much of that is Thorgrim's clearly pretty high splash damage. Well, either way, he has been pretty entertaining to watch, but all good things have to come to an end as this particular Skaven stack will decide to shatter under the onslaught. I think the most damage was done to this one unit of Quarrelers, which got hit by that tower before I noticed it, and to Mr. Gotrek, who was in the midst of the battle, and... well, still knocked out plenty of rats at 133. Not too bad at all. Well done, everybody. The battle should be ending any second. Alright, there we go. These fights are always really fun. I just love having our units actually fight through the enemies rather than obliterating them at range. Not that the latter isn't a great time as well. Frankly, everybody here had the chance to play around. The Quarrelers, the Bombers, and the Gyrocopters, artillery a little bit, but we had to be careful with them as they were also a danger to our own units. 46,000 damage on Thorgrim, though the kill count can't be quite trusted due to the inflated numbers due to the enemy armies being destroyed. Anyway, occupy the place. Oh, like so, enemy killed in battle. Powder Maker, recruitment cost reduction for artillery. This will come in handy soon because we're going to be probably building some Goblin Heroes shortly in order to put them into the Ranger army. Yes. All right, Trail of Fangs remains. And we'll be heading towards it shortly as well. Anyway, let's see. I just had to say it again. I believe, unless I'm mistaken, that's the end of this turn, yes? Nobody else needs to move? I have to double check up here. 1 second. You. Okay, yeah, no, you're fine. Well, minus the healing that you still need to do. And how close is the Runesmith to Not close at all. Yeah, since this was the runesmith, or one of the runesmiths that we got from transferring, at least at a high level, but the casualty replenishment rate out of a retinue physician is still a ways away, but what can you do? Diplomacy check? Probably nothing. Burning Wind Nomads nearly ready for military access. I would like the defensive alliance with Urson Revivalists eventually as well, but for now I think we're okay. Rictus surprisingly doesn't want peace, but they're basically done for. They have one settlement, right? Yeah, one settlement, no armies as far as I can tell, unless Tretch has another hidden army running around somewhere, which is also a distinct possibility. Ooh, Thorgrim, before I forget. You got 1 point, and I want that point in Rune of Grimnir to get you plus 50% mass, and the missile resistance ain't too bad either. And I got 3,750 mass with that additional speed. Should be pretty good. We'll also get another 15% speed out of Relentless for you. Just gotta make sure that you have enough points ready to put that there. Alright, well, otherwise, we're not going to spend any more cash, so we will skip. We will damage building. Oh, Vard camp? Yeah, okay, no, that's fine. And we'll be abandoning the place shortly. Hopefully Azazel won't come back. Anyway, let's end the turn. Let's see if anybody is secretly waiting and ready to attack us. Alright, Broken Wheel destroyed. Oh my, Ungrim, well done. I usually see Ungrim get wiped out, or at the very least relegated to a couple territories, so I'm happy he's doing well here. I guess wiping out Grimgor and keeping his south sort of territories safe is doing the same thing for him as him keeping our north territories safe is doing for us. So, good job. Constructor, negative growth. Oh great, more negative growth. That's unfortunate. Now, I would like to see, do we have any negative from raiding? No, so these guys are not here yet, which is good for us. You... Oh, you can directly reach the Monolith of Flesh in one bound. Okay, well, damaged though you are, we're all damaged in one way or another. We'll abandon the settlement, and then we'll head here. He's probably going to run. No, he's not going to run. And oh, do we risk auto-resolving this? It is low casualties, but we barely heal here, A, and B. And Demon Prince is nearby. At the same time, it feels like a waste of time. Our income is nice, but that's by virtue of the one turn bonus income that we're getting from the High King's Tribute. Speaking of, we're going to now delete this, and I guess for next turn we're going to switch out of this into Masters of Stone and Steel, because we'll build the next Deep Skate at Karaz-a-Karak. And then is there anything else that we'll need to build for the turn? Well, these guys are coming in 2 turns, but I'd really love to get that Deep Skate started. Yeah, we won't have enough money to build these ones anyway. Yeah, alright. It's fine. Alright, let's check Lords real quick. Just for any interesting traits. We've seen these. Doomseeker is fine, but not one we need now. And I really need another Overseer, or like 3 more Overseers, depending. Anyway. Tretch Craventail. Wellity. He's returned. Perfect. So, Thorgrim, I'm gonna need you to march stance all the way to the edge of this and guarantee that you can move to Tretch. You, sir, are... I'm just going to send you around to scout this out. What do you do, by the way? You have the Banish Contact effect, King Lun Ironbeard, the 50th King Lun. This is Moonhowlers, so it's green skin, so we don't need to identify them in the same way. You can... Demon Slayer. Alright, wait. Decent likelihood Tretch attempts to run away, doesn't he? Alright, you, I guess, are going to, for the turn, go here. Right. Assuming you can jump to Carrick Crumb after. So we're going to get you here, and then both of you are going to sit here as well. Go into Valea's Will, and just to get the bonus public order, and then I'm going to want to perhaps transfer this runesmith to Thorgrim next turn. The rest of you guys, Joseph of Zorn, you are going to besiege Tusk Sun's hold, and Gromby, are you able to reach it? No, not quite, unfortunately. Alright, we'll have to do this without. Going to be a little bit of an effort, but I think we can manage to pull it off, even with Joseph's incomplete army. Alright, you can... I guess you can just march stance this way, because this will be our territory as soon as we take that. Let's move everybody else around as well, and I guess save the money, because we'll need it for the Deep Skate, which takes, I want to say... Okay, we will want to build the Scrat Mine here. And... We should still have enough money. We'll build that, and then you can, for now, switch to Venerate the Ancestors, unless we want another level in the Makazungor. It's a possibility. Alright, fine. I'll leave it as it is. You will also be able to build a Scrat Mine here, and we can get the Barley Field up and running, though it is... I mean, we will need growth here. We probably no longer need the clan barracks in this particular location. Oh, wait, no, we're keeping it because of the iron mining pit here. Alright, fair enough. Just leave it as it is. Let's move everybody else around. And, oh right, the King Lun one. I mean, you're gonna go into an army shortly, so just stay there. We don't need you to act as a scout anymore, at least not right now. You guys are okay. And I guess you're still waiting. Alright, and I believe that's everybody that would potentially need to move. Alright, fine. Joseph, you're about to attack. Oh, we might as well auto-resolve this one then. If we're gonna risk it, we might as well. Auto-resolve, let's see the damage. Yeah, it's not too bad. And that Varg should be destroyed. We are going to... I think that was the edge of the range, meaning we have to loot and occupy it. Like so. And Varg destroyed. Lovely. Powder Maker, another Powder Maker, another Stone Mason. Always nice to see. You don't need one, though. Or the Powder Maker. Or, frankly, the Runesmith's Apprentice. We'll transfer those to others. Dwarf Tattooist, sure. What I would like to see is the acquisition of a new territory with dyes. No. Okay, so sometimes acquiring a new territory with a trade good immediately lets, or has the AI starting to want to trade with you, but clearly not the case here. Alright, fair enough. Let's jump back towards Tusk Sun's hold and have Mr. Joseph of Zorn attack it. You will want to... Okay, so you're a runesmith, although I'm not 100% sure that... Well, yeah, we'll probably want 2 runesmiths in this army because they will... Now, have the Rune of Wrath and Ruin in the Forge Fire? Seems kind of fiery, right? Yeah, alrighty, and you maybe actually want to save points now. You have the Rune of basic versions of each rune. You don't have the Overcast version of the Oath and the Steel, though. Maybe we'll get the Overcast version at least. And then afterwards we can start moving through Renowned into Retinue Physician, or saving points to do so anyway. Joseph? Let's do this thing. Alright, here we go. This shouldn't be a problem at all. The really nice thing about well, I mean, there's a lot of nice things about flame cannons, not just that they're super effective and look awesome, but the really nice thing about them in this particular army, or under an overseer, and generally speaking, is the fact that the additional range that it gives them allows them to actually outrange enemy towers and then knock down the enemy towers. Normally, the flame cannons are so short range that they would have to move into the range of the bombardment from the enemy towers in order to actually attack them. That said, they also do an insane amount of damage to walls and the like. We can see that a single volley takes out more than half HP from the enemy gate, though having opened the gate like that, both, well, actually that didn't do anything since the gate still got destroyed and the units behind the gate promptly got fried. Yeah, maybe shouldn't have tried hiding behind the gate when there were flame cannons attacking it. But yeah, as I was saying, these things are really, really good at knocking down walls. I guess setting them on fire and whatnot. And a couple volleys will take this particular wall out, and we're going to do the same to various portions of the wall. There's another breach in the wall. The towers are now under bombardment from the Grudge Thrower, while the other units just keep breaching the walls and keep damaging the units standing on top of them. Alright, let's see. One more breach. See these guys get knocked off that wall. And we'll breach the wall right beside these guys as well. Oh, those poor orcs. And they're not having a good day at all. Ooh, and I love the fact that the extra volleys move right through the breach and start burninating the jerkos behind them as well. They're such an entertaining unit, you gotta admit. Alrighty, and I do believe the walls are nearly breached, well, I mean sufficiently breached I should say, and we should be able to start moving into the settlement shortly. I believe there is an orc shaman that's going to foolishly move up here, and that's a bad idea because the flame cannons can burninate you up there just as well as they can burninate the wall. And the shaman just manages to survive with 253 HP, but, well, is going to shatter and isn't going to be useful for the rest of this particular fight. Rest of our army has now started to move, and I'm just going to speed through this until they close the distance for obvious reasons at this point. I'm going to burninate a few units in there as well. But we'll have some fighting to do, not to worry. We're not just going to win the entire battle using the, using nothing but the flame cannons. As that might be a little bit obnoxious, maybe for a minor settlement battle, but not like this. I want to see some units fight. Alrighty, and there we go. We've made our way through the breach, and the first of our dwarf warriors have closed the distance. Orcs were wisely now. I don't know if the AI was doing this on purpose or not, hiding sort of behind the walls and sort of using them for cover. Which means that the flame cannons wouldn't have been able to fire upon them anyway. So that works out pretty reasonably well, and now our dwarf warriors are going to have to hack and slash their way through, almost a hack, through most of these guys. The warriors of Dragonfire Pass moved in here as well. Probably the only dwarf warrior unit that we're going to keep in this army, as since we probably want to keep the blasting charges in a fire army, and we'll probably want to add some Drake guns, plus brimstone guns, plus more iron drakes, and I don't know if we'll have room for more flame cannons, but, well, can you have too many flame cannons? Is that such a thing? I mean, plus the regular flame cannons and the Regiment of Renown flame cannons are a little bit different from each other, or the Grudge Settler flame cannons are a little bit different from each other, in the sense that the the Grudge Settler flame cannons have the split projectiles, or the explosive projectiles, or, you know, something like that. So we should have some regular ones in there as well. Plus, it's a fire army, and it's got to have lots of fire streams going. We'll see how much room we have, basically. But anyway, the Dwarf Warriors, we won't have room for them in this army, but we will have room for them in others, and they can... well, they've been fighting for quite a while in this army, and they have certainly earned, due to their age, the right to become Longbeards. The Warband upgrade has certainly going to allow us to evolve them. And it would be a shame to just delete them after all this time. But of course, the Warriors of Dragonfire Pass, you know, belong here. A, and B, they have all that bonus fire resistance, which means that even if we fire upon them with our own fire units, the fire won't burn them so much. Alright. And the enemy lord has arrived. Our runesmith is actually holding said lord off, just trying to allow our flame belchers to attack him. Iron Drakes, I mean. And we just keep on fighting. Yes, we could chuck some blasting charges at these guys, but I did want to give the Dwarf Warriors a chance to get in on the action a little bit. And they are here after all. And besides, after the early game is over, we won't be seeing much in the way of Dwarf Warriors, because, I don't know, in the late game there wouldn't be too much purpose in using them over Longbeards, so... And we don't have a lot of armies that are currently making use of them, and yeah, we just want to make some use of them, or else they'll be gone forever, other than the Dragonfire Pass Warriors, of course. Although, admittedly, in the Chaos Dwarfs campaign, we did have an army that had tons of Chaos Dwarf Warriors and regular Dwarf Warriors, not the upgraded versions, Infernal Guard. It's just that I suppose I wouldn't say that the regular Dwarf Warriors are going to be, you know, too interesting to watch over the course of a longer campaign, especially in the later game armies with all the fancier and more interesting units. Especially once we have Iron Breakers and stuff like that. But I also don't like to spam Iron Breakers because they're such a ridiculous unit, plus they're super expensive. Alrighty, tactically, not much to say about this particular fight, at least not anymore. We're just as slowly grinding down those enemy units that remain, and by the looks of it, not much of them remain. The Orc boys have fled, Boar boys are still here, and a few more enemies, some big ones in particular, are moving down the ramp towards our Dwarf warriors, but this time, unlike the other location, we're actually going to use our fire units, both the flame cannons and the blasting charges. There we go. And I think those guys are done for. The bounce power's at about 90% in our favor. The Boar boys have fled, and frankly, the battle should be pretty much ours. There's a couple of units hanging around up on top of the ramp, but I think a couple of volleys from something. If something can hit them up there, I'd be willing to bet that they're gonna shatter. Oh, alright, looks like Boar boys have decided to move towards us. Kind of reminiscent of last episode or was it the episode before last, where we had that pile of Skaven that were trapped in their miner settlement, and we had those 3 iron drakes and just burninating as they kept attempting to come down that ramp. I'm going to say that this is going to be no more effective. And there we go, proven correct, as the enemy army will shatter, knowing that they've no hope to breach our line. Nice little fight. Alright, there we go. That went pretty darn well. Thanks to the flame cannons and the iron drakes, especially once we made it through and into the enemy settlement. Lovely. We are going to occupy the place, and let's see, we're at 52%, eh? But the problem is we are now running out of enemies in this sort of general area. We can move towards these Skaven, but I'm willing to bet that that's not going to be enough. I would prefer to delay declaring war on another faction as yet, though there is some good stuff here held by the Grey Hag Greenskins. I wonder who's down here. It's Chaos Corruption, eh? Would like to link up with a friendly faction at some point to hold some of these sort of lowlands territories as opposed to the mountain territories. Well, we'll see if it's actually viable. Anyway, Joseph of Zorn, you leveled up, but you have the most important stuff, which is a spyglass. Might as well max out Master Armor, because the 30% fire resistance is going to be just generally really helpful to everybody in the fire army, so that they essentially can't damage each other all that much. But we can't get more fire resistance on the miners. That would be quite lovely as well. Anyway, I do believe that is everything that we could possibly do this turn, yes? Other than potentially do something with Braun Gundrickson. There's still no raiding here, yes? No, no raiding, meaning these guys don't have a stack nearby, and if you're not recruiting over the turn, which you are not, I guess we can put you back out here. Cost us, what, like 100 gold, but we can get the additional... Well, actually, we can do mining camp and increase that gold, or we can get the additional public order. Yeah, we are losing public order here, so there is that. I have been meaning to replace the Dwarf Tinkerer's shops, but I don't want to do it as of yet. And alright, we'll need a public order building here. Though I imagine that the adjacency in this particular location won't be all that much. I would assume that we are looking to take these territories and push onward towards Helpit, because we have a legendary grudge there, plus the special port here, and this rather nice set of provinces with all those trade goods. But maybe we just go for the refectory here instead. Admittedly, it's not a lot of control compared to the Mechas Ungor, the vaults. It does give us a little bit of that dwarf beer, which is good and generates a little bit of cash as well. And if we get the deeps here, which we probably will, because it has a gold mine location as well. Yeah, fine. We'll build this, we'll build the beer hall thing, but not for a couple of turns yet, as we'll need our money next turn. Alright, fair enough. I guess that's another end turn. And we will skip, and I'm just gonna hope that I didn't forget anything. Oh, wait, deeps upgrade available. Oh, that's to upgrade you to level 2. We do want to do that as well. But we'll... Oh, wait, I think it can't get reduced, can it? Unless I'm mistaken. Well, I guess we'll find out. I'm pretty sure it can't, but we'll want to unlock these as well. So we'll save the money for the further deeps upgrades. End turn. Alright, another stonemason for Craig Cromson. Who are you? One of these guys. Yeah, you don't need this right now because there's nothing to build in this particular territory. Gain a substantial income, working on it. And the Tretch is still there at the Trail of Fangs. Lovely. We are going to then move you... What's the likelihood he actually sallies out and attacks us? Like 0? Wait. You guys can't reach here, can you? No. And we can't risk Tretch moving there. I was just wondering whether we might be able to potentially get his defeat rate on 2 lords, but I think I would rather not risk it. So you guys just sit there, rack up XP, you're gonna move in, and then get ready to hit Tretch shortly. King Lun! Was it you that we want to put into Thorgrim's army, or was it to this runesmith? You have Zak. Oh yes, it's this one. I want the massive amount of extra scouting available. Especially in Thorgrim's force. So you're gonna go here, and I think you're just out of range of Thorgrim's army, eh? Yeah, go for scouting. And then this one will have him do either armor or the other thing. Right, there we go. More scouting, and you're at 19 out of 20. Frankly, to get the additional XP, we could put King Lun in this army for now, at least until he gets transferred to one of the other armies. Yeah, fine. We'll do it. It's XP. Lots of single entities in this army, but using them to level isn't too bad. One of them has to go to Joseph of Zorn anyway, and the other has to go to Grimbrindle, well, swap out with the... Well, actually, no, we could keep the unhinged one in this one. Anyway, you guys are not able to reach Oozy camp this turn, unfortunately, but we'll get on the approach. Let's see if these guys have a full stack... Nope. And the play should then fall fairly quickly. Let's put you into Valet as well, get a little bit of that bonus public order, and then I guess you can do the same. Gromby. Get a little bit of XP out of Oozy camp while you're at it as well. Ooh, about to lose the raid remains, so that bonus control is going to go away, sadly. Alright, now, Karaz-a-Karak. So, first of all, we want to get the gate up and running here for 5,000 gold, but it is what it is. At least it'll only take 1 turn to build, and this thing will take 1,000,000 turns to build. Actually, it'll... The fact that it takes 1 turn means we could build another one at the Pillars of Gringny fairly quickly, but with the massively inflated cost, so there is that. I guess we wait for the turn, then just upgrade all of the military structures here as well while we're at it. Also, we might as well start on the next level of this, and yes, it is not reduced by the Masters of Steel and Stone at all. Yeah, fine. Stay as you are in Masters of Steel and Stone and then swap it out next turn. The rest of you are looking okay. Let's get everybody else moving. So, not the rear guards. Brawn. Do we have an army moving in? Still no raiding. They better not be going around like sneaky Azazel there. You. You need to move to... what's the likelihood that we can actually jump across? I don't know. Well, you gotta give it a shot, so you're gonna jump right here, and maybe you can jump from there. Do we abandon this turn? I guess we can abandon next turn, because we can use this turn to still heal, just in case these guys come around. And yes, we could attack the Demon Prince, who's currently at war with Keepers of Bliss. But then we have nobody to defend this direction. On the other hand, we do need additional grudges. And it is additional territories we could raise on the way to the Steel Fist Reavers, who are currently, let's see. No way we can get you to fight the Steel Fist Reavers for us, is there? Not Monolith of Flesh. He'd be willing to give us 5,000 gold for this, and we could immediately declare war on him. I mean, it's not a horrible plan. Give this to him, and then, How many turns would take 4 turns? Damn, if we had another military structure there, we could have possibly made some use of it. The main problem is that this guy won't like it, because they hate each other. So he'll have the debuff from giving gifts, but nonetheless, I mean, especially if we get the military or defensive alliance going with him, that'll sort of fix the situation a little bit. He's already at war with a couple of these factions. Cornates are likely to attack either him or us. But that's never going to change, and we do want some Kislevite units as they do fit nicely with ours as well. You know, that's not a horrible idea once again. I'm just a little bit worried about these guys having a lot of full stacks, so we'll need to probably build a few more units here in order to achieve that. Which we were going to do anyway. Do we not have an artillery thing here? We do not. Alright, hold on to the money. We'll wait on doing anything, including abandoning this, because 5,000 gold ain't too bad, I gotta say. If only they were able to attack. Wait, I have another thought. Trade Monolith of Flesh to you. Join war against Steel Fist Reavers. Join war against Keepers of Bliss. Nah, no dice. Oh well. Too bad it's not worth more, but that's fine. Man, these guys, why are these guys so grudgeless? You'd think that the Demon Prince would be, like, 245 is barely anything. What's our max amount? We need 29,000. At 200 per, this would take 1,000,000 years. I don't know, man. Not having grudges against Chaos seems weird to me, but maybe that's just me. Anyway, everybody else is positioned where they're supposed to be positioned, and I guess that's another end turn unless I'm mistaken. Oh, you. Well, I guess we can't move you out here yet, but I guess we could jump you here. What's it like if a Tretch just moves past you and goes after Squighorn? It depends on how far he can move here. I'm willing to risk it. You're gonna go here. And I assume this is full of rats as well. The main problem is this place. You might even have to bypass all of this and then just jump to Karataman's tomb and then start working towards Troll's eggs while Thorgrim starts on Crumb. I think that's the better way to do it. Probably. Anyway, let's end the turn and see what happens. Dunge building and end the turn.
A quest has been issued, mighty lord. A great adventure beckons. Be wary, though, for while the potential rewards are great, so too are the perils.
Alright, Gromby has a quest available now as well. He just needs his main stack. The good thing about this is this. We have 2 turns of quest stuff available, which means we could counteract the massive public order malice due to Confederation fairly decently well if we do both quests. So we should prepare perhaps to confederate one of the other major factions. And aha! Alright, Veritas Zoriteller has arrived, hopefully with only the 1 stack. We were expecting these guys to come around, so hardly surprising. Technology researched, good for Shielded Warrior. Positive growth in a place, wonderful. Alrighty, now, you can reach this place. You know what, I think I'd rather trade these guys the thing for the money, so yes, we're going to trade him the Monolith of Flesh, but we'll also move away, or out of this place. Yeah, you're gonna jump here. We'll take the money. We'll go and reconquer it later on, but right now this is worth more to us. Monolith of Flesh, and just once again, join war against Steel Fist Reavers? No dice. Alright, that's fine. Now it's only 4K. Ah, come on, man. 4K worth it. It's a tier 2 settlement, but it isn't a main settlement, so it wouldn't be walled, so it would be an easy conquest anyway. Even if these guys get upset at it. And because we can also use that money to generate a few, at least the quarrelers here, possibly a couple of Longbeards. We'll need something to help defend against this. Because we barely have any kind of defenses there. Alright, yeah, we'll do that. Just out of curiosity, what do we have in terms of regiments of renown? Oh, right, the Grumbling Guard. Grimly, those are yours. Okay, we'll deal with this in a second. Let's see what's going on down here first. Oh, let's swap the settlement. Even for 4K, we need the money. Here. Mount the Flesh. Enjoy. We could actually do a non-aggression pack, but it's not worth it, is it? Go for it. Reconquer it later. Alright, then you... Alright, you've already moved. You guys will stay where you are. And Tretch did not run. Fantastic. Meaning Thorgrim gets his defeat trait. Thorgrim. Is this worth fighting? I know it's Tretch, but... I mean, it's not horrible. Might be fun. It's still 2 stacks. I am wondering whether these guys can move in and March Dance and Leech XP. Looks like... maybe. That's a question. Because there's this little army out here. I guess we could send this army running and then do that afterwards, if that's the case. Because it would be a good idea to leech us. Oh, right, as I was saying, as the turn was ending, Clan Gnaw, these guys declared war on us. So the plan has changed slightly. And I see no stack over here. We'll have to manually fight this as well because we don't want the damage. Ooh, these guys are worth a decent amount of grudges. And ooh, okay, we gotta check. Do we have raiding here? Not yet, meaning these guys haven't moved. At least not here. I wish we had I should have kept one of the scout heroes back. We also need to fight Oozy camp battle. And what do we get at Tusk Sun's hold? Another siege workshop. I don't think we need one because we have tier 3s here, so that's not relevant. Wait. You're not collecting income right now, meaning we can replace the trinket maker with a deep mine shortly instead, after we get Trail of Fangs. Joseph of Zorn, you and the Grimbrindle will move in together. And what do we have here? That might be worth fighting as well. And I kind of like the idea of using both of these guys together in a single army. Who do we have here? Moonchalas and House of Baal Chaos Dwarfs. Okay. Alright, all of these battles will hopefully give us sufficient money for our purposes. Let's get you Forge Fire. And then Gromby, I saw that you had a point at least to level up with. We were going through Age of Vengeance, though Eager Kin and that recruitment cost might be nice for us. I wonder if this reduces any other kind of recruitment cost. So just out of curiosity, 2,940. And if we do this... 2,940, yeah. Oh well. Maybe it reduces these guys? Or it might not. Alright, what about you? You are in hardened armor. Let's get you the second point in Rune of Wrath and Ruin so that you can overcast it, as without the overcast it does poor armor-piercing damage. Here we have the Great Gate, and we'll need to go for the Ornate Great Gate, and then immediately we'll build the same thing. Not the Magma Caverns, but the Ruined Guild Foundries. Right? Yeah. 4,000 gold. I mean, we can afford it. It's just I'm a little bit concerned that we wouldn't be able to afford the rest of these, but it's fine. We'll see, depending on what happens after the battles. And with these guys attacking us... Alright, well, either way. Thorgrim briefly breaks... Oh, wait, actually it won't work. This guy won't run, will he? Huh. So... Are you actually too far? Maybe. It'd be unfortunate if you are. Let's find out. Huh, you're not too far. Beautiful. And then if you go here, you should also not be too far, technically speaking.
I suppose so. Destroy them.
Bonus XP for everyone. Alright, and both of you are in. Beautiful. Too bad we can't double up on the Tretch XP, but that's fine. Let's do this. Not gonna bother leveling as we don't need it, to be perfectly frank. Sorry to say, Tretch. Insulting as that may be. Go. Oh, actually, before we go, blog episode clearly happening, and the engagement threshold has been reached, and more importantly, the weekly streak has been reached, so yes, we will be doing 2 episodes today. I don't know exactly when the second episode will be uploaded, but it'll be somewhere between probably, I don't know, a few hours or many hours, but in the same day as this one. So stay tuned for that later today as well. And the engagement threshold remains at 400 likes and 60 comments for the next episode to be an hour length as well. On top of that, I guess the streak starts over. If we do another week streak, we go for the double episodes next Saturday as well. Sorry to those who are vainly attempting to catch up, but them's the breaks, and at least there's more episodes in the bank this way. Go.
No, Dowie. Let us wipe them out. Take up your axes and seek glory in death.
See glory in death. Well, Gotrek's happy to be here at the very least. Anyway, here we go. Tretch Craventail's last stand. At last, he has been such a menace through the course of the campaign, but he has given his fantastic defeat trait to, well, now both Thorgrim and some generic lord, as well as Grimbrindle, and frankly, I'd deal with his menace, his annoying habits every single time to get that defeat trait on several lords once again. Anyway, as usual, our gyrocopters will move forward and start the day by obliterating that poor enemy artillery piece, and, well, they've already done so rather quickly. As for whether this is going to annoy Tretch, we're going to see. But we are going to move through the line of Skaven in these trees and drop a few bombs on them. They do horribly outnumber us, and we do want them to move towards us. This isn't admittedly the most effective use of the Gyro Bomber's bombs, simply because the enemy isn't nearly as blobbed up as we would have them be in order to get the maximum amount of damage on each bomb, but this is going to probably serve well the purpose of forcing the enemy army to move towards us. Plus, you gotta love this bombing run. It's sort of flying down this valley and obliterating decent piles of rats as we go. We'll see how many kills the Gyro Bomber has after all this. Very, very nice. And I think we got one more bomb left in the tank. There we go, and that is all the Gyro Bomber's bombs. It's got 911 kills, 72,000 damage, and I think Tretch's army is thoroughly irritated and starting to move towards us and get into range soon of the Goblobbers and the stone with your name, grudge throwers. Speaking of names, guys, we're going to need names for things other than flame cannons. It's kind of the dragon phenomena or the Karaz-a-Karak phenomena, depending on whether you're with Imric or Nakai, as I end up getting like 20 Karaz-a-Karak names or 20 dragon names, and similarly we've gotten a million flame cannon names. But then things that are much more common, like longbeards, like various artillery pieces other than the flame cannons, quarrelers, rangers, miners with blasting charges, things that we're going to have a lot more of. They have a significant dearth of names by comparison. And I get it. You want to name a dragon or an iron drake or something like that, but they're just not as common units, so otherwise a lot of names get wasted. And while I could adjust it and just build a billion flame cannons to match the number of names, then we just have nothing but flame cannons in every army, and, you know, that would make the game too easy, let's say. Well, granted, the regular flame cannons, the non-grudge settler flame cannons, aren't nearly as strong, I will admit, but nonetheless, we gotta have variety. Ooh, I can't wait to get organ guns. Actually, there's a ton of units I can't wait to get. I'm really excited for the shotgun army as well, though I haven't yet figured out exactly what I want to do with that particular army and how we want it to look. Do we want an overseer with them? I'm still on the fence as to whether we want a overseer or something else leading the army of rangers and the army of rangers and goblin hewers, because obviously the slayer could buff the goblin hewers, but their range and that of these slayers with throwing axes is so tiny that even the extra little bit of range offered by the overseer would come in really handy, even if the overseer can't really buff any of them directly, well, other than the goblin heroes. Anyway, looks like Thorgrim gets a Rictus clan stone dropped directly on his head and surrounding him, but Tretch is not going to have a good day trying to damage Thorgrim at all. And he probably can't escape Thorgrim either, so good luck to Tretchy. We've seen Tretch get absolutely obliterated by Grimbrindle in a previous fight when Grimbrindle finally hunted him down. And I don't imagine it's going to be any different here. Anyway, Thorgrim is going to whack away at him for a while. Tretch is now down to about half HP, but the rest of his army is moving in. Nice to see the Everguard with shields taking a few hits from the enemy slingers and range units. That's why they were the tip of the spear after Thorgrim himself. Over on the left flank, we have a big old blob with a Runesmith, our Rune Lord, and the Demon Slayer. Alright, there we go. And they should hold the flank pretty nicely. It looks like Tretch has... There we go, he's been defeated. He's got 200 HP and he's not escaping the homing missiles as he takes a bunch of those shots to the back, while Thorgrim ignores him and starts chasing down the enemy Grey Seer. Here we go, 53 move speed. He is booking it, and the rats are not going to escape him, though they will drop a Warp Lightning on top of one of our units of hammers. Looks like the spell resistance that they've got prevented them from taking too much damage. Bounce power is already 90% in our favor, and the enemy army is nearly done for by the looks of it. And they just don't have the units needed to be able to breach the heavy armor of the hammerers. And frankly, I'm surprised they haven't shattered yet, but they're probably waiting for Thorgrim to kill off the enemy lord. Oh, there we go. Now they've shattered, and the enemy lord's still running. Has the Scurry Away buff now as well, but with Oath of Vengeance, he's down to 45. Thorgrim's at 53 with Strider, so he's actually moving considerably faster, and the enemy lord ain't getting away. And ouch, that poor rat. Anyway, with that, Tretch's time in this campaign comes to an end. Alright, there we go. Beautiful. It amuses me to no end to see Thorgrim of all lords chase enemy lords down, especially rats who would normally be easily able to get away. Otherwise, Tretch is done. His faction is destroyed, everybody got plenty of kills, and no problem at all. There we go, speed plus 10% for Lord's army, including Thorgrim. Nakari also has a similar trait, so we could potentially try to go after Nakari as well at some point. Potion of Strength for you, I don't think so. At least you don't need it, and East Mad Dog Pass is ours. I feel like you should get some kind of bonuses for the grudges if you wipe out a faction that you've got a lot of grudges against, just like generally speaking. Anyway, Carrick Crumb is on the menu for you guys, and I forget, do we want to fight this or auto-resolve it? Well, that is medium casualties. Yeah, fine, we'll fight that. In fact, we'll probably fight it right now. Is this a minor settlement? It is... Yes, indeed it is. A minor settlement. Alright, fair enough. Ooh, do they have artillery here? No, they do not. Okay, well, that's going to be a problem for them. Alright, you're working to go into Masters of Stone and Steel, or Steel and Stone, whichever it is. We still need to recruit up north as well. You need to be built up before we can switch to High King's Tribute. Though, on the other hand, and if we don't have enough money this or next turn, maybe we should just... Well, then again, we should get these up and running. Okay, we'll see how much money we have. Let's check out diplomacy real quick. Still no on Urson Revivalists, but getting very, very close to it. Alright, fair enough. Alright, let's do this fight. Joseph, go. Oh yeah, look at those fires go. Also, for some reason, while loading this particular battle, I had a thought. While obviously Grumbrindle buffs Iron Drakes and Dwarf Engineers the most, he's going to need to have a lot of them in his army. I do want to put some regular Iron Drakes, or the Trollhammer rather, Iron Drakes, in another army as well. And the thing is, I want to see them with that engineer trait that gives you dig in, so we'll have to get another engineer with that, but yeah, another engineer with dig in to buff their range up by 40%, and then another 50% range buff on the Iron Drakes from an Overseer, which obviously Grumbrindle cannot do. Did I say Thorgrim? Anyway, yeah. I wonder what range the Iron Drakes with Trollhammer torpedoes will have with all of those. So that's a plus 90% increase in range, assuming that there's no additional increases in range via various runes or possibly upgrades. I haven't taken a look in the text that there might be. Basically, I want to see Trollhammer torpedoes being dropped on the enemy's head from like halfway across the map, because that would entertain me greatly. Similar to the way that we've got flames dropping power upon the enemy from halfway across the map with these powered-up flame cannons, which are already frying half the enemy army. And there is a little they can do. This is a minor settlement, which does have a lot of sort of obstructive structures that usually get in the way, but, well, it's not doing it for the enemy, since we do have a nice elevated position to fire from. There we go, and these things just do so much damage. All right. We want to get some. Fire rain rockets from Cathay, which are fire damage, or some Hellstorm rocket batteries. Though I'm sure the Dowie wouldn't trust those manling contraptions. Dwarfs tend to not like the sort of non-careful way the humans tend to build their stuff. It's a little bit explosion prone. It's kind of like the way that, I guess, the humans would look at the Skaven contraptions being, you know, impractical and super dangerous. Well, the dwarves kind of look at the human tech in the same way. Everything's prone to explosion. I mean, just take a look at the steam tanks. They're such a danger to the crew, to everybody around them, not just to the enemy. Anyway, in the meantime, if you're wondering why we've been bombarding the enemy rather than moving in, we were waiting for Grimbrindle to arrive with his reinforcements, the miners and the rangers. Though I admit, in retrospect, maybe I shouldn't have even used the flame cannons here, because frankly, most of the enemy army will be defeated by the time Grimbrindle and the rangers get here. And that's with them buffed up to considerably more speeds. Due to Grimbrindle's buffs and now Tretch's buff. But nonetheless, I don't think anybody's going to complain about a little bit more fire action from our flame cannons. I will, however, speed this up a little bit. I think we've seen the flame cannons do the work. And hey, they're doing it in the name of Herrick Grundadrag, who, with a few battles, has cemented himself in our community canon, and I absolutely love it. I really wasn't expecting a random grudge settler lord to achieve that, but he certainly achieved. Anyway, Bad Sparrow's at about 80% in our favor now. Most of the enemies, including those poor pump wagons, though admittedly they are pretty fragile, have been destroyed. Our rangers are starting to move closer, as well as Gromby and the miners, but by the looks of it, it might not even be needed here. Alright, come on, Gromby. Get in here. Maybe we can at least have him duel the Black Orc Big Boss or the Goblin Great Shaman, just because. We will, however, want to move in the Dwarf Warriors so that the Rangers have at least something to hide behind. Otherwise, their fragility will ensure that they actually take some damage. And what is this? Ah, look at that. A unit of squigs will actually charge forth, immediately get buffed by the enemy. Was that sneaky stabbing? Yeah, it was sneaky stabbing. A little bit of extra damage, but they'll rout pretty darn quickly and break around Grimbrindle. Alright, there we go. And squigs are broken. Admittedly, they're breaking through our lines, so it's going to annoy us while we try to reposition ourselves, but, well, it is what it is. And Grimbrindle is going to head forward towards the enemy Black Orc Big Boss and the enemy Lord as well. Going to take a few hits from something. Was it the enemy tower? Did the enemy... I think they had a tower here. Yeah. It just looks so non-orky. Alright, I keep meaning to take a look at whether that mod... Does anybody know? Is the mod that changes the towers to look like... well, you know, to look like that faction's tower, is it still around? Is it still getting updated, or is it gone? I still find it absolutely bizarre that the devs haven't taken care of this, considering the assets for towers are already in the game. But oh well. Anyway, Gromby down by... Oh, actually, he's taking a little bit of damage and needs a little bit more HP. Ooh, and a Vindictive Glare comes out from the enemy Lord, which manages to actually do some damage to us. 19 kills on those poor Rangers. And that's with the 40% spell resistance. Not bad. Not bad at all. And they lost like 40% of their HP as well. Either way, the enemy army is just about done for. Gromby's still dueling the Black Orc Big Boss. You gotta remember he does have a healing potion, but it looks like he doesn't have as much healing available to him as yet. Granted, we've been putting all of his points into the blue line to buff the entire faction rather than Gromby himself, so that's hardly surprising. Anyway, with that, the enemy army shatters, including the Black Orc Big Boss, and who I'm sure Gromby would have defeated, because, you know, healing potion. And with that, the battle is ours. Alright. Nice job to the flame cannons, I think. This was kind of their show, and Grundadrak's name. Alrighty, very nice, and, well, effectively no damage to us. A full 2,000 of the 3,000 enemy defenders burninated from a distance by the Grundadrak's Bellow and Flames of Carrick, and 150 to 140,000 damage on both of them. Fire Army is certainly doing a good job. Occupy. Alright, and let's see, enemy killed in battle, another stonemason. I don't think you need that, though I'll swap those around as needed to build stuff, and Wolf Edge secured, and Drippin' Fangs destroyed as well. Nice. We'll go for... we have another ranger building here. This might actually not be a terrible idea. Bonus campaign line of sight, as well as the defensive structure here in Oozy camp. I was going to have this be a fortified province anyway, so that's... maybe we'll keep that. Anyway, for now, though, don't collect income and go into Masters of Steel and Stone. We are also not collecting income here, but that should be fixed in a turn or so, and we are not collecting income here. Minus 12, well, that's why. Alright, fine. Get rid of the Dwarf Tinkerer's shop at the Trail of Fangs. We'll probably need to get rid of one of the things here, either the Slayer Shrine or the Gromroll Forge or the Gunsmith's Forge. Frankly, we want the Gunsmith's Forges everywhere just because we need a lot of capacity for everything there. The Slayer Shrine I don't care for nearly as much. But we're waiting for a different trait on some of the Slayers to put them into some armies. Anyway, we have also got to fight with the other army, but we've also got to generate some troops here, namely Quarrelers with great weapons, like so. We have 4, meaning we can put you in this army right now. Then we will have 4 or 5. Or 1, 2, 3, rather, I don't know. 1, 2, 3, so we'll have 3 out of 4, and we could do one of the Longbeards with great weapons. Grudge Settlers. Like so. And the Grumbling Guard as well. And that's most of our cash. Wait, 225. I just want to double check. Gromby. Oh, he didn't level up. Damn, okay. I wanted to check whether it would reduce the Regiment of Renown recruitment. It doesn't really matter because it's not like there's a lot of Regiments of Renown, but I just wanted to know for me. Anyway, Grumbling Guard. Alright, we're going to have to level these guys up. It's a full stack coming in. Hopefully just the one, as we don't have a lot of defenders here in Karaz-a-Karak. Hopefully it'll be enough. And you, sir. I guess we'll get Axelord for this. What are you again? You're vengeful. I mean, ultimately we'll be resetting you, so I guess for this particular purpose, once again, that's probably the pick here. So let's go Axelord. Although there's also Obstinacy for 20% reduction, but it is a fairly significant upgrade for the Longbeards, even if there aren't a lot of them. You will want to at least get Blade Master. The rest of this is kind of not worth it. I mean, 1.48 weapon strength, but it's not going to make any real difference. You are wanting to save points for Fell-Handed Warrior and a bunch of other stuff. So I guess you're just going to do that. And then you definitely want to get the Rune of Wrath and Ruin and the Rune of Oath and Steel, and will want to get the Overcast version of... This will give us armor-piercing weapon damage, which will be helpful against the... Yeah, let's do that. Heavily armored Chaos Forces. Like the Forsaken and such. Anyway, I think that's all we gotta get in here, right? We could get the Grudge Thrower, though... Let me just think. Would we want Grudge Throwers of this type in any of these armies here? That's a question. Wait, do Grumbrindle... Let me just see, Gromby, where are you, buddy? He has buffs for war machines, but it's melee defense, it's a little bit of extra missile strength, so yeah, they would benefit from that to some degree, but do we need grudge throwers with the Iron Drakes? These are the explosive variants, but at the same time, Gromby probably wants the Regiment of Renown of Iron Drakes and maybe flame cannons or something. Lots of stuff is considered war machines. And by the looks of it, only the engineers and the Iron Drakes get double the buffs from him. So kind of, it's just that I really don't want to lose that army now that we've invested in it, you know.
No.
I don't see another raiding army nearby. That's the big issue. If it's just the one army, we can win. If it's not, then it'll be a much bigger problem. We have what, 7 units here?
To war. For the wisdom of Valea.
Alright, I'm just going to assume that we'll be okay. Let's hope so. And not get the other grudge thrower. Anyway, let's see who else needs to move. You, I believe, are the last. We're going to take care of Crumb. We will also need to manually fight this. Go.
Kill trolls, giants, dragons, a greater demon or two. Let's see what surprises today holds.
Alright, here we go. Grudge Settler Army back in action with King Lun the 57th, ready to fight. I actually do find it really amusing that the name generator seems to be really stuck on King Lun, and it's not just Lun, it's King Lun. It's always King Lun. They could have just thrown Lun into the name generator, but it always has to be King. Shout out to anybody named Luna, I guess. Anyway, as usual, we're going to start annoying the enemy artillery piece. I sometimes do hesitate to do this, but, well, first of all, it's pretty darn effective, A. B, we normally have artillery doing this anyway, and we just don't have an artillery piece in this particular army. And C, this is a Grudge Settler army, and we have to do our best to preserve all of our units in order to make sure that the army can keep on fighting, since otherwise they can't heal. Alright, well, anyway, the enemy artillery piece is destroyed. We're going to annoy the enemy lord a teensy bit, but that seems to have annoyed the enemy army sufficiently into moving towards us and our line of Longbeards and Iron Drakes, who are once again interspersed among them. Alright, just out of curiosity, so the Regiment of Renown Iron Drakes with the dig-in ability have the 180 range. Yeah, pretty nice. Does the bonus range from the Overseer affect the base range, or is it added to the range that is buffed by Dig In, I wonder? I guess we'll find out when we get that in the other army. Still, 180 range is plenty. They outrange Iron Drakes after all, so they would even win or not Iron Drakes. Iron Drakes outrange Iron Drakes. They outrange Quarrelers and Thunderers, so I believe have 170 range at this rate. Which is pretty neat, because it would allow Iron Drakes to actually fight in a range duel, in a shootout if needed to, which I really appreciate. And once again, that's without the bonus from the Overseer. We really got to find some more Overseers. We got 2, but there's so many armies I think we can make more viable with their addition. I'm still kind of on the fence as to whether we want a Slayer leading the Slayer Pirates, but I guess at the end of the day, Malachi will probably have a bunch of Slayer Pirates. It feels the most appropriate for him. Especially since he has a ton of buffs for Slayers. Actually, if I'm recalling correctly, he might even have a faction-wide buff for Slayers, but anyway. It might be an upkeep reduction, not a buff. Well, either way, we'll find out when we confederate him. For now, the enemies are moving in. Those enemies that have managed to reach our line getting stopped in their tracks by Longbeards and by Hammerers. And of course, the heavy armor means that the Plague Monks are going to have a very difficult time actually doing anything to them. And those rats that are still on the approach of the enemy does outnumber us nearly 2-to-1 in terms of units. The units that were in the center have all been obliterated, and while the enemy center is pretty much on the verge of collapse, and soon only the enemy range units will remain. Another thing I really love about the fire units, both the flame cannons and the iron drakes, is they make for some really cool, like, overhead shots for watching a sort of overhead version of the battle. There we go. Makes the battle seem more, like, wide and epic sometimes than, you know, like, on the ground with guys getting into it. Sword versus axe or whatever. Not that I don't love that too. Anyway, looks like the left and center have now all collapsed. A couple of range units remain, but they will be fried rat skewers rather shortly. And now we just have, or grilled rat skewers. Yes, it's a name. It's going to be added to something. We are going to be working on the last of the rats on the right flank. I'm going to drop a few bombs on them, a few of the Grudge Settler Torps, and the Iron Drakes will move in to start hitting them in the flanks as well. And the Slayers, which have thus far been kept back, since we can't heal them, we can only... We're saving them to use them when they're the most needed, when they have to be sacrificed. So we're not allowing them to participate, or until the army is nearly gone. Which is actually relatively soon in terms of how many turns remain for them. So soon we'll probably start sending them into combat to start taking mass casualties. Anyway, there we go. With that, the enemy's right flank is done for. The enemy army collapses and only the Plague Monks remain, now surrounded by the Slayers and even the Gyro Bombers. Rather than dropping torpedoes, which could kill off a bunch of our own units, are going to use those whirling blades of theirs and rip some of those Plague Monks apart in melee. Nice. Why don't these guys have a serrated blade storm? I mean, if the Slaneshi chariots have a serrated blade storm, I don't see why these frickin' things, when landing on the ground, wouldn't. You really wouldn't want to get anywhere near those spinning gyrocopter blades, would you? Anyway, with that, the battle's ours. Close victory, apparently. I guess we used some ammunition on the Iron Drakes, but they're actually pretty solid in terms of ammunition, so that's kind of surprising. Alright, there we go. Extremely minimal damage with most of the work done by the Iron Drakes, hovering between 50 and 60,000 damage and 500 and 600 kills, and enabling us not to force most of our melee units into the actual melee. They're good at cooking rats. And go figure. Occupy the place. Like so, and we immediately got, okay, we're going to keep the granary, delete the Dwarf Tinkerer's Shop because we don't want the public order loss. We'll grab Thunder Mountain next, though, they're already losing a lot of these Skaven corruption. I am concerned about these undefended territories, but at the same time, they've been left pretty much as captured and haven't been invested in, so we're okay to lose a couple if that's necessary. These guys did declare war on us a little bit earlier than we had originally expected. Let's see if there's anything else that we want to do. Oh, we could use a little bit of Oath Gold, get a couple of runes going, especially for this army, which might need a little bit of help here.
For the wisdom
Yeah, possible. Alright, let's take a look at the Forge now, and I'm gonna say... what do we have in terms of the big banner runes? Master Rune of Disguise, Master Rune of Immolation, neither one of them particularly helpful. The Stromny Redbeard rune will make us fight a little bit harder, which ain't too bad. Oh, we could triple up on the Rune of Fear, and possibly even the Master Rune of Groth One-Eye. Melee damage reflection and the discouraged effect. Yeah, you know what, I kind of like that. We'll do the Master Rune of Groth One-Eye. We gotta collect all these runes anyway. And yes, we do need to save a bunch of the Oath Gold for a number of other things, including text, but, you know. The thing that I wanted here was... Okay, I forgot what the rune was. There is a rune that causes fear within the territory. It might be a character rune. Probably a character rune, in fact. Not the dazed effect, though it is a nice effect. Melee defense reduction. I was thinking of this one. Rune of Fear, enemy leadership -2. It's a -6, which isn't all that much, but it might be helpful here. Why not? Alright, and then we'll pop it on to these guys for this upcoming battle. So, you better not lose that Master Rune of Groth One-Eye now. Let's see. Grab the Eldritch Casket of Sorcery. Yeah, it's a little bit of control reduction, but it's not a big deal. We have picked up a few items since then, so we should probably pop some on ya. You'll grab the Rune of Fear. I guess the Rune of Fury. You don't need it right now. Seed of Rebirth, I'm going to put that on Gotrek. You can have the Master Rune of Groth One Eye. Razor Standard, keep it for now, though we'll take that off you later. Cooper, not super useful. Powder Maker, not super useful, at least not here. The rest of that is fine. Magic items. I mean, I guess we could get you the Talisman of Endurance for this particular fight. We're kind of holding on to them. And a Crown of Command, while I generally don't find useful, we'll put that on you for now in case somebody is routing. Don't really care for either the Obsidian Lodestone or the Deepwood Branch. Fuse. I mean, this does give us a little bit of missile resistance. Maybe not Fuse. At least not yet. What do we have here? Potion of Strength, Veterans Gauntlets. These are all fine, including the Featherfoe Torque fine in the sense that we'll probably keep them around. And Faust Thorgrim wants his speed thing. We do want you to get the Rune of Fear, and we do want you to get the Rune of Fear. Oh, I picked the same guy. My bad. You to get the Rune of Fear as well. You can have the Potion of Strength and maybe Ironbeard's armor. Oh, it has fire resistance on it. I gotta remember that one, though, because we can put it in the fire army, and especially since we will need a Thane there. And then you have no armor, do you? I don't think we have any spare armor other than that armor. Shield of Talos, 10% missile resistance, probably not gonna be useful here. Yeah, we have very little armor. Thorgrim's using a freaking enchanted shield. Ugh. Alright, well, that's all you got, so that's all you're gonna use. No more Oath Gold, at least not that we're willing to spend, and I guess you're going to fight as soon as we end the turn, then. Alright, should be pretty fun. So long as it's only the one army. Two you won't survive. And just double checking whether there's anything else here, and okay, let's see if we can't rack up 5,000 goldish next turn to get these up and running so that we can switch out of the Rune of Oath or the Commandment of Oath and Steel. Very, very close on this. Would this give us anything in the sense of preventing enemies from declaring war on us? It might. We'll wait a turn, maybe, or two. Well, let's end the turn as it is. Oh, we could also do the quest battle, for example, with Thorgrim, but then we need to time that with the Confederation. Though, with 10 turns remaining and only 62%, while we are just a little over halfway there, we are running out of enemies in this particular location. It does look like the Red Fangs are worth a fair bit, though. Maybe we'll have to work on them in order to do that. Basically everything in these mountains is, well, is up for grabs, or soon will be. Anyway. Alright, here they come, just the one stack, valiant defeat casualties high, the monstrous units. Oh man, there's a lot more monstrous units than I thought there would be. That's going to be a problem. Their infantry is low, which is also not great, because our grudge throwers and our Rune of Wrath and Ruin are thus going to be a little bit less useful. We'll get the Master Rune on, I'm going to say... Looks like the Grumbling Guard are tankier, so they'll get the Razor Standard to make them dish out more damage for longer, and I guess this is going to go on to the Longbeards there. Should be a pretty fun fight. Ooh, just popping the runes in will turn this into a Pyrrhic victory, though at the loss of everybody except the two first heroes, or the Lord and the Thane. Go!
Victory will be ours! I see old breakers everywhere!
Alrighty, here we go. Unfortunately, a very, very dark map, and yeah, that's not great. Not so much because, I mean, we with our fire army, or just units that have fire generally, will at least light it up. And oh, the map is a cool looking one, though. I like all the purple glowy stuff, the Chaos Gate, the lava everywhere. stones with some kind of freaky eldritch fires burning on them. Pretty neat. But anyway, when the map is sufficiently dark, it's kind of hard to figure out what enemies are near you, especially when they blob up. Now, we do have a bit of a battle ahead of us, and we are definitely going to take a nice position here. We're not going to go to the corner. We're going to leave space around here for the enemy to get around us, because I don't like to do the whole corner thing, but I do like to use the impassable terrain, which is definitely part of the game. So, we're going to use this little lava cavern, whatever you want to call this, as the protection for our left flank. And then basically have our Longbeards, Grudgebearers, and Grumbling Guard out front. And for those who remember Belegar's campaign, the Grumbling Guard will be renamed to Grimly's Grumbling Guard when we get Grimly Quarrel Seeker back, as he likes using both Quarrelers and the Longbeards as well. Alright, but anyway, here come the first of the enemies, actually surprisingly visible due to the glowing eyes of those Chaos Warhounds. Actually, it looks kind of neat, even if it's hard to tell what the heck is going on otherwise. But hey, we've had non-dark maps generally throughout the course of this battle. We had that one dark map against the Skaven with the Grudge Settler army, but they had so many flame units it was still perfectly visible. Anyway, the enemy is going to drop a nice Searing Doom, which I was a little bit too late to dodge, unfortunately, and loses about 25% HP off one of our Longbeards units, which ain't great, because we're really gonna need those. Ooh, and more Longbeards get knocked out by... I don't know what the heck that was. Some kind of magic missile from the enemy. Oh, it was a Scroll of Blast. Okay, well, at least they only have the one use of that. And these guys are now down to 50%, or at least close to it HP. Maybe 50, maybe 60% HP before the battle has really begun. Which ain't great. Enemy Manticore comes in and drops down upon our Grudge Throwers in the back line. But, well, we're going to surround it with our unit of Dwarf Warriors with great weapons, as that is the unit that we've kept back until now. Similar to what I do with the Longbeards with great weapons in the in our main Thorgrim stack. Kept these guys back with their great weapons in order to protect our range units and our artillery. Especially since they're not as heavily armored and certainly not shielded. The one thing that's really nice about dark maps is, though, that the chaos units do look pretty damn good, because of all the glowing elements to them, just like some of the vampiric units as well. Archaon in particular, it just looks absolutely fantastic whenever he fights. I mean, that's generally true whether it's a dark or light map, but in the dark maps as well. Love those glowing claws from those Forsaken. I mean, it's got to be a pretty horrifying battlefield when it's too dark to see much of anything, and you just see the glowing eyes of the monstrous units, the glowing claws of the monstrous Forsaken. Though perhaps it's better not to take too much of a look at the Forsaken and the Chaos Spawn anyway, so boon perhaps. Not to have to sully your eyesight with them. Though, of course, that may be true for us, not so true for the Dowie, which we'll see plenty well in the dark. Anyway, looks like the balance of power is still very much in the enemy's favor, and while our main line is not yet looking on the verge of buckling, it is just barely holding the big old pile of enemies. The Chaos Sorcerer Lord has, of course, been defeated by our own High Lord and the two Thanes that were with him, but that's hardly surprising. It is a sorcerer versus 3 essentially duelist units. Luckily, the enemy has not yet breached our line and made it into our back line other than that Manticore, but we were able to see it off with those Dwarf Warriors with great weapons, which have now been forced to join the main line, simply because our Longbeards, including the Grumbling Guard, are in very bad shape. About 15% HP on the one, maybe 25% on the other, and especially now the Grudge Settlers get hit with a Plague of Rust, meaning we're going to rotate them out. They're fine, they're steady, or they were steady, but we don't want them to take massive amounts of damage while that Plague of Rust is up. And it's generally a good idea to rotate units out of the front line like that when possible, especially when they get hit with a big debuff. If you have room to do it, I mean, and which in this case we, if just barely so, did. Our Lord with his two Thanes still holding off the enemy. And I'm certainly thinking that this particular lord, if we manage to win here and survive, which is a little bit iffy as yet, this lord should probably have 2 Thanes with him. Kind of earned it. I might just rename this lord to Grimly, depending on whether we make Grimly a engineer or not. But once again, if we want to use Longbeards with him, it's probably better to use this type of lord. And he does have that hero buff, so the Thanes would work nicely with him. Anyway, bounce of power has shifted to about 55% in our favor. Not super big advantage, mind you, but slowly but surely our quarters have been focusing down the bigger enemy units. The Forsaken largely going ignored, but every Chaos Troll, every Chaos Spawn, whose tentacles are still waving overhead and together with the Trolls, are very much the target for all those Quarrelers. Surprisingly non-Quarreler heavy early game for this particular Dwarf campaign, but, well, I kind of like it that way. Quarrelers are such a mainstay, and I like it when different campaigns don't feel exactly the same. And with that, it looks like the enemy army does shatter. The enemy lord does escape. They very, very nearly managed to breach our Longbeard line. And it was such a close call. If they could breach them, if they had been able to move past them and into our back line of Longbeards, our Quarrelers, the Quarrelers wouldn't have been able to kill the monstrous infantry, and then the monstrous infantry would have slowly but surely ground down the Dwarf warriors with all that armor-piercing damage that they've got. Alas for them, the Quarrelers were able to keep firing and bring down all the monstrous infantry, troll, and spawn alike, giving the battle to us, and Braun here surviving another day. Ooh, good. I mean, it was obviously a gamble to move our main army out to go kill Azazel's main territory as well as destroy the Varg, and it looks like it worked out, as long as there isn't another army coming in immediately after this. I say nervously. Let's find out. Alright, there we go. Solid fight and solid amount of money for the fight at 3.2k. We're gonna have to take that despite the fairly severe damage that at least the Grumbling Guard and the Longbeards have taken, but without an additional army, it looks like these guys can't do too much. Now, the most difficult part of that battle by far was not the actual enemy, it was the frickin' darkness of the map. I could not see anything. I couldn't even see the banners of the enemy units to try to figure out which enemies I was targeting, and just kept mousing over different enemies the entire time, thinking, I want to shoot the Chaos Spawn or the Trolls, and then everything else in the blob was getting in the way. It, oh, that was quite infuriating, but fun battle nonetheless, even if that aspect of it was blah. Alright, sort of striking irrelevant to us. We've got a few demolitions accomplished, which we're going to replace with other stuff. Now you, sir. March stance will take us out here, whereas... yeah, okay, we can go a little bit further with the underway stance, so that's what we'll do. We should be safe, and granted there could be another army nearby, but frankly, this army has also not too much left. Though I fear that we might not be able to kill it with what we have here, at least without getting more stuff in, and nothing from this pile of units is going into either of these armies. Wait, can the hammers... oh, they can become slayers or iron breakers. Iron breakers might be nice, it's just that I'm not sure that they would fit into either of those armies either. Anyway, let's see what we got here. Now, Thorgrim and King Lon. Wait, first of all, do we have any rats here? Do we have any raiding? No and no. We're probably looking to take those back. You will proceed to Thunder Mountain. Close as you can get to it at any rate. And we'll see if the enemy reacts to this at all, or just keeps doing what it's doing. I guess while we're not at war with these guys, though... got 9 turns. Ugh. How powerful is this faction? 10 settlements, eh? We could start the war with them and keep pushing southward in order to complete this particular set of grudges. Oh, we got only 4 settlements, and the Red Fangs might be the better option then. And Thorgrim... Okay, he cannot immediately jump down here, can he? Actually, he can by the looks of it. Just barely. Okay, wait. Now, these guys, at least one of the runesmiths has got to leave this army. As to which one, you have the Banish with Thugni's bloodline, which is pretty nice, I admit. Spell resistance, character gain, and then the Banish trait. Also increases miscast chance, but you actually have to hit a jerk in order to activate that. You have Zaki, so you're actually staying in this army, and then this runesmith has a retinue physician, and you have Karaki. I was actually going to send you to another army as well, but for now, I think because of the... Okay, you know what? You two. One of you is gonna move. You, Ulfar Norgrimling, are you... Okay, you're the one that's incisive. Ooh, you also have your rank 10 now. That's nice as well. Good for a sort of generalist lord, though I haven't yet figured out what exactly we want to do with you. You do have Venerate Smednir, which gives us magical attacks, and Warriors, Longbeards, Hammers, and Ironbreakers cheaper, so certainly an option to have you at least command some Longbeards. In addition to whatever else we put in there. Laneshi giggle. And we'll have to figure out what we do with you as well. You're also the cheapest one, right? 234? Yeah, not a super expensive one. Anyway, I guess this guy, the Banisher guy, you're gonna leave this army. And I'm gonna pop you into this army. Alright, that should not have interfered with how far we can move, so you can still go to Broken Axe Peak. We have no enemies there. And if we take this, we might have to defend against them. Ugh, these rats declared war on us, so they are coming. Now they gotta be. Alright, I guess we're gonna start moving back this way. Wait, would you be moving faster in march stance? Yes, very slightly. You're gonna go this way, and you are gonna go this way as well. Granted, one of you needs to be somewhat swapped around with these guys. Joseph of Zorn. I guess we're going to sit here for now. If it comes down to it, we could declare war on these guys, but, you know, if it comes down to it. Grimbrindle, is it time for you to leave this place? This accursed place. Oh, wait, before I forget again, what do we have here? First of all, we have no level ups. Okay, you have a level up, but your level up doesn't matter. Want to get you built, Mustering Hall, and you built, Arms Foundry. I guess we could just upgrade this so that we don't have to do it later. Yeah, fine. Let's go for Gromrel Forge. You're being constructed. We could immediately start upgrading the entrance halls here, but it's probably more critical that we do that. Either way, that's all the stuff that needs to be constructed or upgraded here until we reach tier 4, which is going to take a while. Meaning we're free to... Unless we want to delete this and build another Deeps immediately next turn. It's going to be too costly right now. We'll wait for a few turns, I think. Let's go for High King's Tribute to get that income increase. Which should fund the next few turns and start funding a few upgrades in a few territories that are generating money. Like you, Mount Silver Spear. You can at least build the Makazungor, which is pretty critical here, and then build your Scrat Mine. Granted, this place isn't really going to be a money-making location, but nonetheless. Alrighty, what about here? We have a Scrat Mine everywhere, which was the main thing. We have this place not collecting income yet because of the public order issue. We can start building some of the things, the important things, though, because we will be starting to collect income here rather shortly. So we'll do that, and then we'll be just short of another Scrat Mine. Alrighty, Gromby. You need to perhaps start heading north. Now, this guy... What do you have again? Vengeful, right. It's gonna take a bit until Gromby comes back. Oh, right. If we reset his skills, or as soon as we do, we lose the bonus replenishment that we gain. On the other hand, it might not be so bad now that we're in our own territory, so this might actually be the best time to do that. So I guess we should, huh? Alright. We should also delete this. It's not going to serve here, and I don't want to pay for it. And if the rats take it, then it would be otherwise wasted. Alright, so Gromby, do we have somebody to take the army that you're currently commanding with you? We have this guy, but he's very costly. Speed for gyrocopters. Darn, I was hoping for another rear guard, but whatever. Alright, Gromby, we've no choice but to reset you now, sir. It'll take 3 turns until you return, and then... Oh, we might actually want to swap out the... Well, now the Arm of Endurance is still good. We could actually get Rouse the Engineers instead of Mighty Beard of Defense, because you're not going to be defending. Or wait, or do we just replace you? That'll take 5 turns until you're back. But then we're not actually looking to reset your skill points, and it feels kind of cheaty to get you back on field faster using that, doesn't it? Yeah, fine. I guess we'll replace you, or else I'll feel bad. Although I am curious whether this actually changes while you're being replaced. So I just want to find out. Let's test it out real quick. Let's see. You are healing more or less to full 23 and 2. Let's see if that is still the case once we reset you.
I'm here now.
Replace Lord with, I guess, this incisive guy. Like so. And then Gromby's going back up north while you, let's see. Still 23 and 2, but it might have been maxed out, so it might not, that might have not been the issue. I don't know. All I know is that that's about all we can do for this turn, unless I'm mistaken, unless we hit Broken Tooth with Joseph of Zorn and Morgus Death Dealer. And we also do want to go back and get him his Goblin Hero so that army can function on its own, but I think that's going to wait a little bit because we don't have the money for it. Skip, and turn. Let's see what these Skaven have got, eh?
Talk then, but I make no oath for the surety of your life.
Well, darn, it looks like the Legion of Chaos will declare war on us. Well, it was a matter of time, and we just gave them a settlement, but we were always looking to reconquer it, so that's okay. Alright, no new attacks for the turn. Mount Squighorn gets an unusual location, meaning we should try not to let it fall, and it is the Grail Nightgrave. Ooh, this gives you a trait, if I recall correctly. I don't remember what the trait is, but probably means we might want to hang around there. Stonemason, good. Now, still no rats. What the heck are they doing? Why'd you declare war on us if... Yeah, it's them not attacking is making me more nervous than if they did just directly attack. Hey, we found at least one of them. What do we have here? Fairly decent garrison at Thunder Mountain as well. I guess you can besiege them in the hopes that they try to attack you directly. Thorgrim, I guess you're going to strike at these guys, so we kind of have to. They are currently allied with the Moonhallows, but we can ask the North Confederacy to join the war. Otherwise, we'll never complete this all the way to Nolengrom. And we will go after these guys as well. It's just that we may need to wait, or we run into the concern of overexpanding. These guys are still protecting us, but these guys might not be. Although I also don't like these guys hanging around costing us money without actually fighting anybody. The problem is these guys could attack through this direction and through this direction. What I probably should have done is taken Grosdrung first before moving to Broken Axe Peak, but it's a little late now because I don't want to waste the turn with Thorgrim anyway. You will allow us to join war against the Red Fangs. And we could do the defensive alliance with you, but I don't think that does anything for us. A, and B, frankly, this faction will probably eventually get destroyed, so I'm not, super concerned. Frankly, I'd rather have their cash. Yes, we'll join your war. I wonder if any richer faction... Wait, 1 second. You're also at war with, factions we don't know. I was wondering if there was a richer faction that would give us more money for joining us, but it's fine. Alright. All in order to get more Grudge settlers. Gotta keep that Nolengrom going. And what I should have done also, I should have moved another lord here, and then we would have been able to reinforce and then still move with Thorgrim. That was absolutely my mistake, rather than moving these two guys together. But it is what it is. Anyway, for now, King Lun, you're going to act as a scout.
Nothing to do here. Let's
And we need to find those rats, because these guys can't move until they do.
For my oath.
They're supposed to leech XP, and they're good at leeching XP against Orky factions, but not as good against the Skaven. Anyway, we're gonna hit this quick little auto-resolve. Never. Oh my lord, what the heck? Why would the... what? Basic pile of orcs kill off, like, 3/4 of all of our hammers? What the heck was that? Alright, auto-resolve. You're being crazy now. And, another Dwarf Tinkerer's Shop deleted. Don't collect the income. Alright. And then how are we doing here? You can now collect the income for a little bit. I still want this place fortified, though. And then Animal Store, and then we'll do the Karaz Ankor. Wait. We probably want stonemasons on these guys. Reduce them at least. Okay, you already have a stonemason. Do you have a stonemason? You do. Oh, well, good job, Pastor Ruinous. You finally proved yourself useful. What about you? You don't have a stonemason. We have plenty of them to spare, so we might as well get them on everybody here in order to get cheaper stuff. And there you go, Karaz Ankor. There we go, saved ourselves 200 gold on that. You can start collecting income as well. There we go. Better. And then build a scrat mine, another scrat mine, I should say, and we should probably upgrade the Trail of Fangs. It's super expensive, but it does have that gem mine. And this place is fine. And at least until we're ready to invest in it. This place, same until we're ready to invest in it. What about this place? We want the other dyes, but we don't want to invest in it too much. Here, we're okay. 2 more turns until that's constructed, and we need to just make sure that we have enough money in order to use it, but otherwise we're okay here. Alright, how about up north? Oh, also, feel like I haven't checked diplomacy in a bit. Well, there's nothing to see here, really, anyway. Alright, now that the Demon Prince has declared war on us, that's also going to be an issue. You. Alright, one of you is going to be Grumby. I guess, wait, what do we have in terms of High Lords? Now, technically speaking, Grimly Quarrel Seeker was a High Lord, so in theory we should get him as a High Lord, though the engineers are much better in terms of powering up the Quarrelers by a huge amount. Actually, speaking of, let's get you spyglasses. We could say that, I don't know, that Grimly was maybe... he was maybe both? Though these guys don't actually do anything for Quarrelers, do they? At least not directly. I mean, well, they do. Plus 50% range is better than anything we could get here. It just bothers me that he was a High Lord before and he wouldn't be a High Lord here, so I feel like we still want to use him as such. Anyway, doesn't change the fact that you will want to go forward. These guys are going to run, but if the other little factions want to fight here, I'm perfectly fine with that. Alright, maybe I should have set up an ambush instead and try to bait them into attacking the other army, but, well, too late. Yeah, keep moving forward then. Can't change stances. You can march forward close to them. And hello, are you kidding me? Is Azazel doing the same thing where he goes all the way around? You really? This guy is so irritating. Alright, we're gonna go to the Tower of Karak immediately and ignore this guy. We may actually want to thus recruit a few more units. Now, speaking of units, wait. We were looking to upgrade these Thunderers. I mean, this is Grimbrindle's army, and the Thunderers need to be upgraded into various kinds of iron... Oh. You have to first be upgraded to Fire Iron Drakes, eh? You can be upgraded to Thunderers. Alright, I guess. At least one of these guys. Like so, for another fire unit. So that we have 3. Now you can be upgraded, but you need to be tier 5. And yes, we could upgrade this guy, but I kind of rather have the super leveled fire unit. Anyway, it'll be a little bit until Grimbrindle gets here anyway, so I think that's fine. A nice, decently balanced army. You can, I guess... do we need more Dwarf Warriors? We'll need some Longbeards. You have an inferior amount to them, 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4. Grimly, well, we'll want at least 1 more Dwarf Warrior, who will eventually become a Longbeard. These 2 are Great Weapon Quarrelers. Let's get 2 more Great Weapon Quarrelers and 2 more Thunderers. This has to become 2 armies after all, so, yeah. And we are in Masters of Stone and Steel. Ooh, -8 due to... Wait. Huh. Not raiding, there is no raiding. Alright, we need to actually prioritize building the control building here. And by the looks of it, we're going to need a heck of a lot of control. Frankly, we're going to undo these two and then rebuild them with scrat mines and at the same time deal with that afterwards. Anyway, I think we've got, let's see, one more turn to end. I am kind of interested or invested in what's going to happen here. These guys could very well attack us. Do we have time to fight this fight, though? I don't know. I fear that perhaps we might. Skip, 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 and turn. Alright, Mr. Zortiller backed off. We could do mind dispute or relations with Karak, which probably doesn't matter to us. So we'll give this a read. A reckoner has approached requiring guidance on how to settle a dispute between two clans. Both are claiming ownership of a mine. One has remained loyal to you for centuries, and the other has opposed many of your edicts. Give it to the loyalist clan. This is going to be like 100 extra gold or something, isn't it? Yeah, pretty much, but whatever. You didn't sally out, really? Okay, that's kind of irritating. I really thought that they would. At least we gained that substantial income. And another Razor Standard, another Fiery Ring of Thori, which will be nice for our fire army. You, Thorgrim, need to... I can't go here. Alright. Alright, fine, you're gonna go here. Where are these guys? I still don't see the Skaven, and I still don't see the Raiden. Freaky. Alright, I'm not so sure what was up with that, but it is what it is. Azazel is... Oh, he's taken out Crow Brethren Roost, but hasn't moved too much further. We definitely will want to take advantage of that then. Go into... I don't know, underway and camp. Go here. Towards the Tower of Karak. We could potentially still get attacked, so I think you are going to have to stay here and back off. Because these guys could bypass us, and I don't think they can reach us in one bound, so maybe you just stay here, possibly even recruit. Anyway, I think, well, I was expecting the rats to sally out here, and I'm kind of shocked that they didn't, considering the disparity in troop quality. I should have built... I mean, I was so sure that they would sally out with 2 stacks against our non-full stack that I didn't build any equipment. If we had a flame cannon, we'd just attack, but since we don't have artillery, we need to actually, you know, build some stuff. So I guess that's what we're gonna do. Is Hadar the infectious? No, not the leader of this faction. Okay. Well, you can besiege. Anyway, like I was saying, I was expecting that fight, but since it didn't happen, I think this is probably going to be the ideal time to call it. Next time, we work on wiping out the Red Fangs, and specifically trying to get Black Crag, which I take it is a important and grudge-settling mission of ours, and continue northward towards wiping out Clan Gnaw, and possibly going after the Iron Rock as well. Most likely, we'll be forced to declare war on the Broken Tooth. We will wipe out Azazel next time as well, as it is going to be necessary, and he's been annoying, though surprisingly he's not worth a lot of grudges, and we'll have to figure out, 69%, nice, we'll have to figure out how to rack up another 9,000 grudges. Also, possibly, we might get a confederation going, because we have 2 quests, and we may use those quests in order to, we may use, oh wow, look at that, Belagar. With only 4 settlements. Anyway, we may use those quests to activate that public order and also get the additional grudges settled, because they do offer those. And just to try to complete the Age of Reckoning. Anyway, more Thorgrim to come, so stay tuned, especially later today as we get the bonus episode. Don't forget to leave those likes and comments below, especially the threshold for the longer episodes. All glory to the algorithm, and thanks for watching.